on Ian vs. Daddy Bones, we're opening up Masterverse Revelations He-Man and Revelations Skeletor.
Oh boy, kids, we're gonna have fun today!
Yay! Hey! Alright!
How is everyone doing tonight?
Hey! Alright!
How is everyone doing tonight?
Hey! Alright!
How is everyone doing tonight?
Hey! Alright! Welcome back! It's another exciting episode of Ian vs. Daddy Bones. I am Ian Daddy Bones. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. If you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook right now, what's up everybody? Give a special high five and a knuck dap to all the Patreon subscribers throwing me $1 for bonus content for 30 days. And I'm reminding everybody now, this is your final month to support the brand for only $1. The price goes up to $3 in January, and that's not a bad thing because I'm doing away with the $5 tier, and the Original Geeks podcast is going to be included with the $3 monthly subscription to support the brand, so you get your name in the credits, and I never delete your name from the credits, whether you decide to roll with me for the whole fucking year or only 30 days. You get access to all the bonus content I've done for the past year of the show, and you get access to the Original Geeks podcast, which I'm guaranteeing you at least 2 episodes a month, and you already get the episodes of the OGPC that I already did, that are already available for Patreon subscribers. But I gotta say, I have been busy as hell, and I know a lot of people are probably sick of hearing about the laptop and computer issues, but now that I've been back on my feet, literally, I've had the new machines now for almost a month at this point. I've been cranking out content. Right now, as far as production goes, as I film this, I am currently a week and a half ahead. Technically, I could say 2 weeks, because episode 51 dropped yesterday, episode 52 is on deck to drop next Friday, and this is episode 53, so I'm going to have this mixed down, edited, and available on the, it's going to be scheduled to drop next week on Friday, well, 2 weeks on Friday, so I'm going to be 3 weeks ahead with the show. I've been knocking out some bonus content for Patreon subscribers. That's already edited, uploaded. The posts have been scheduled to drop on the selected days. So I got episodes ready to drop. I got bonus content ready to drop. I got Original Geeks podcast that just came out for, I believe it counts as a December episode. I'm pretty sure it counts as a December episode. But I talk about CM Punk returning to WWE, and besides getting set up and making my, planning ahead for the show, I've also been working on brand new background beats for Ian vs. Daddy Bones, and I can say as I record this episode, this is going to be the first full episode with all new background beats, because I'm swapping out everything that I've been using for the past year, and all those beats have been made by me over the years. I got my music creation software on my laptop, and like on my old machine, I bought my creation software, and I had the option of buying into it and purchasing sound pools, sample packs, samples, instrument sounds and shit. So it's like I got the creative free and the royalty free licenses and whatnot. So, I don't have to worry about YouTube like trying to kick me in the dick and for copyright and shit, because it's all my original self-made stuff. So, a lot of the beats that have been playing on the first year of Ian vs. Daddy Bones is stuff that I was making in like 2016, 17, 2018, and it just sat on my machine, you know what I mean? After shit fell apart with Razor Blade Candy Dish and I wasn't making content for like 5 years, a lot of that shit just sat on my laptop. But I decided to dust off some old stuff, whether it was logos that were previously done for me. I'm bringing everything back because I'm making social media videos of the beats in progress that I'm working on, and I've been posting those, and I've been getting some good reactions on that and shit, and I even received a few stars on some, so thank you very much for that, Henry. I appreciate it. And yeah, I've been working on a bunch of new beats because like I said, maybe my laptop dying on me was the best thing that could have happened for the show, because with the new machines, not only do I have all my software back that's very important for me to use when producing and editing the show. You know, I got all that stuff back, like all the sound pools and samples that I bought in 2016, I was able to get re-downloaded back for making beats. And currently, over the past 3 weeks having the new machines, everybody's got like monthly Black Friday deals going on, and a lot of the instrument sound pools that I don't have, sample packs that I don't have, they're on sale right now for like 80% off. So like I've been grabbing like $20 bundles for like $2. You know what I mean? So it's like for every $10 I've been spending buying new samples and sounds, I'm getting like $100 overall of like instrument sounds. So it's like you drop $40 on all the shit on sale, and next thing I know, I got $400 worth of brand new sounds, and I can just create and fucking make music and shit. And you know, ever since like me and Pete used to make music like fucking 20 years ago, you know, when we were doing the Twin Widow Mafia thing, you know, we were just always having fun with it, and I always enjoyed making beats. Whether I had the music generator program on my Sony PlayStation, which is how I learned how to make beats, and like every software like Cakewalk and everything that I've been using over the years, like I always wanted to use something that felt like the music generator, because that was such like an amazing like setup for making beats and shit, and I had a blast with it. And I like the software I got now and whatnot. I could really like fuck around with everything that I buy, you know what I mean? And it's really great, because it's like, yeah, I can edit so much shit and just having a blast with it. And you know, I know what type of music I really like, so I've been focusing on sound pools, focused on genres I really like, so I can get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and try mixing this with that, and just coming up with different shit, and just having a blast with it. And yeah, trying to make it a better show going forward. So I got all new beats for Ian versus Daddy Bones. So if you want to interact with the show, leave a comment, whatnot, give me your thoughts on the new music, the new show music. But why we're here today is because I am here to crack open the final set of He-Man and Skeletors that I haven't opened in my Masterverse collection, with the exception of the Frank Langella and the Dolph Lundgren He-Man and Skeletor. And I already explained the reasons why I don't want to open those, because of the packaging and whatnot. But these two figures are fucking awesome to me. And before I go any further, I'm just going to say, I think this version of He-Man and I think this version of Skeletor look absolutely incredible for what they are. Because the reality is, at first, some people didn't know how to feel about the Masterverse line when it was brand new, because basically we got this, but what this is like two things coming together, and it's something else that worked, reimagined based on an idea that didn't work. And what I mean by that is, the Masterverse line started as a way to introduce a Masters of the Universe action figure line. I mean, you call it what you can call it what you want. You got basic articulation. Yeah, you got like minimal articulation, basic articulation. You got like 16 points of articulation. You got 30 points of articulation. And usually the less articulation is what's usually the toys given to children. And the more articulated figures are usually what's collected by adults. So with Masters of the Universe Masterverse, Mattel is giving us a line of, 6-inch He-Man figures that have 30 points of articulation. And the concept of Masterverse is based and inspired by Masters of the Universe Classics, which ran from 2008 until 2018. So Masters of the Universe Classics ran for 10 years. It was online distribution only. And it was through Matty Collector, which no longer exists, but Matty Collector was through Mattel. Today we don't have Matty Collector, we have Mattel Creations and Mattel's actual online website store. But most people just go to Mattel Creations. Because the Mattel store usually just shows you what they have available, but then they redirect you elsewhere to go buy it instead of getting it directly from Mattel. That's what Mattel Creations is for. But basically, in 2008 or even 2006, 2007, when they were planning this shit out, basically, the team behind Masters of the Universe Classics went to Mattel to pitch their idea for this new Masters of the Universe toy line aimed at collectors with like 30 points of articulation on the figures and whatnot. And Mattel was interested in the idea, but they weren't interested enough to where they wanted to put Masters of the Universe back in stores, especially in 2008. 2007 when this idea is being pitched to them, because the 2000X Cartoon Network He-Man and the Masters of the Universe reboot, the 2000X series, failed because Mattel totally screwed up the distribution and the way the figures came out, and like you were always finding nothing but He-Man and Skeletor variants and 2-packs in the stores. You weren't finding, your Tila or Man-at-Arms. Instead, you were finding characters that you wanted, but they weren't the figures you wanted to buy first. You know what I mean? You were seeing Mechaneck or Orko or Fisto. You know what I mean? You weren't seeing Tila, Man-at-Arms, Evil Lyn, Trapjaw. You weren't seeing like the basic core set of main characters because everybody else got added to the mix after the fact as the brand grew and got bigger. But so the way it was is with Matty Collector, it was online only, it was subscription based, and basically what it was is, to the best of my knowledge, because this is something I did not participate in, I read a bunch of articles about Matty Collector and the Classics line. I've seen it discussed in books, and I've watched plenty of videos on YouTube about Masters of the Universe Classics, especially through the Spectre Creative channel, which some people love and some people fucking despise it, and I'm not getting into that right now, but I've enjoyed his videos for the most part. But basically with Masters of the Universe Classics, it was online based, subscription based, so like you pay like your annual fee, but like your annual subscription fee gives you like 6 figures, okay? And like those 6 figures are gonna get announced and released, kind of like the way they did crowdfunds. Like you pay us now and give us a year of your time, patience, and understanding, and then we're going to ship out the character that you just bought and ordered. So basically, with Matty Collector, you were getting like you were guaranteed a certain number of set releases a year, and they wound up going through the entire Masters of the Universe line, the Princess of Power line, and it was really, as a Masters of the Universe fan who was unable to participate in Classics, it was so cool as a fan seeing that this is going on right now. It sucks that I can't financially participate in it because these figures would be really cool to have. And the thing is, at the end of the day, buying a book that has a guide, of every figure that came out in Classics, and I'm flipping through the pages of this Pixel Dan book, and I'm just like, oh my god, these look so incredible and whatnot. At some point, there's going to be another book that's going to have the Origins line and the Masterverse line. And it's going to be to a point to where I'll be able to flip a page and be like, yep, got that one, got it, got 2 of him. Sold one of those to Jim. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. But like, Classics was its own thing, but the thing is, Classics had to be subscription-based and online only because Mattel didn't believe it would be successful at retail. Mattel assumed it was going to fail because they fucked up the 2000X retail merch action figure distribution. So, after 10 years, because Classics was able to go through all the fucking figures, you know what I mean? Like everything came out in Classics that came out in the 80s, plus brand new figures that never got a chance to shine. So, you know what I mean? Like I opened up Fangor for Patreon subscribers, and Fangor was a Mattel Creations release for the Origins line, but Fangor first got created in Masters of the Universe Classics. So basically, that was then, this is now. And with the Masters of the Universe Origins line already living and available on retail stores, on the shelves, in toy aisles, Mattel, through Netflix, along with the animation studio responsible for the Netflix Castlevania series, with Kevin Smith and whatnot, announced a new animated series was coming to Netflix, Masters of the Universe Revelation. It's the first brand new He-Man cartoon that we'd be getting in 20 years, and when they announced the teaser trailer, set to I Need a Hero, I was immediately hooked. Like, watching that trailer, I'm like, holy shit. And I was counting down the days until I could watch Revelation on Netflix. But then, while keeping an eye out for Masters of the Universe Origins news and looking for figures I don't have at the time, news broke that, and Mattel announced that Masters of the Universe Masterverse is going to be a brand new line coming out of, and Masterverse was going to be 6-inch figures, 30 points of articulation, and to usher in this new series that's going to be dropping on Netflix, basically the first 3 waves of Masterverse was exclusively dedicated to characters from Masters of the Universe Revelation, which was cool when they announced the first wave of like He-Man, Skeletor, Mossman, Evil-Lyn, Battle Cat, and let's see here, who else do we got? It was He-Man, Mossman, Skeletor, Evil-Lyn, Battle Cat, Skelegod. So they kind of spoiled the ending of the first half of the series by releasing the Skelegod figure with the first wave of figures. So not only do you get Skeletor, but you also see what happens to Skeletor in the last episode of the show. So, that was kind of a letdown and a disappointment. But going back, they were basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone. They were making toys for this new cartoon that's about to drop, and using Revelations as a sub-brand within Masterverse to get this line off the ground, because eventually they were going to be adding other sub-brands. There's different brands of Masterverse, and with the different sub-brands of Masterverse, they introduced this line of figures with the Revelations branding for the brand new show, and that lasted for wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. But going into wave 4 was when they introduced not only the new Eternia sub-brand, but also the Princess of Power sub-brand got introduced, because they released She-Ra as a deluxe figure that I haven't opened yet, and they released Hordak in his Filmation colors from the Princess of Power cartoon. So you already have Revelations as a sub-brand, New Eternia, Princess of Power, and you know, when I opened Space He-Man and Space Skeletor, that was the New Adventures sub-brand. So that's basically what they're doing is Masterverse is Masters of the Universe Classics made for retail, but the line's been completely reimagined, restructured, because now Mattel knows that Masters of the Universe is a popular brand right now, and Mattel knows that this time it will work. Because now Mattel has Mattel Creations, so like its other toy lines and brands that's under the Mattel banner, Masters of the Universe can now be available on Mattel Creations, whether you go to Mattel Creations to buy figures that are still in stock, or if you're trying to wait for a specific figure to drop that's probably going to sell out in 5 minutes. Because there's been Mattel Creation drops for Masterverse figures. But it all started with Wave 1 with He-Man and Skeletor. And the thing is, everything about this was new when it first came out. Because now we have like this new box, this new packaging style. Not used to this as a He-Man fan. Never seen this style of packaging for He-Man figures before. Like in the 80s, it was on that red rock that looks like it's getting blasted apart with the blue space sky. Traditional 80s He-Man packaging. Then in the 2000X action figure line, they tried to replicate the 80s look, but have it be an original design nonetheless, but inspired by the original. But this is like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I half think this design is boring, and I half think it's cool, and and I wasn't sure how to feel about it until they got like 10 waves deep with Masterverse before they decided to change the packaging design for Wave 11 going forward. So the Masterverse boxes are not going to be looking like this going forward with everything new that comes out next year, including stuff that has already came out, like Wave 11 this past fall as we roll into winter. But, you know, on the front of the box says Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, Revelations, has the name of the figure, it says He-Man. On the side, has the character's name, He-Man, most powerful man in the universe. And on the other side, you have box art, illustration of the figure you're about to open. And there's additional artwork on the back, along with the cross-sell pictures of the other figures in the wave. So, you know, it was, you know, and honestly, too, like, as far as packaging goes, these are roughly basically the same size as the WWE action figures, which are also under the Mattel banner, as you all know if you watch the show. But yeah, like, you know, on one hand, looking at the new toy line, like, collecting Origins is one thing. Them introducing another toy line is another thing. But the reason why they're introducing a new toy line is what's really important. And what's really important is, you know, it was 20 years and it was time for new He-Man content. You know, and if you look at like Masters of the Universe, like in the 80s, it was a really popular brand. From like 1981 to like 1987, He-Man, along with Thundercats and Transformers and G.I. Joe and whatnot, and fucking Gem and the Holograms and shit, like, they dominated the 80s. And in the 90s, He-Man wasn't around much because the Ninja Turtles and Nicktoons basically dominated the 90s. Plus you have your Cartoon Network, Toonami cartoons. But like, and plus Power, don't even get me started on Power Rangers, you know what I mean? So the 90s had its own thing. He-Man didn't really have a place in the 90s. And I mean, let's be real. if they tried doing Masters of the Universe in the 90s, which technically they did with New Adventures, but it fucking sucks, and that wasn't my He-Man. But if they tried doing He-Man in the 90s, it probably would have sucked, because he'd probably be wearing sunglasses and have spiky hair and like rollerblades and shit, you know? It'd be a fucking mess. But with them introducing a new series, now you have like a reimagined, not a reimagined universe, but like with the art style of this anime, we're getting introduced to a new look for everything, for all the characters. And it's not like 2000X where they did like, you know, anime inspired designs for like the characters. And the 2000X cartoon series and toy line did not have bad designs for the characters. I actually really enjoyed the way the characters looked in the 2000X line. But when they made the Classics figures, and you look at like the way Classics He-Man was made, and you compare that to like the vintage He-Man, and even if you compare Classics He-Man to all the He-Mans that have came out in the Masterverse line, you know, I'm not saying Classics was better by any means. A lot of people feel that way. I never participated in Classics, so I can't really give an opinion like that, even though I do think they are extremely cool looking for Masters of the Universe figures. But I completely missed out on that, which is why I'm so all about Masterverse, because I didn't get to jump on Classics when it was around. And honestly, at first when the Masterverse figures came out, I honestly wasn't interested in them, because I was so excited that Origins was a thing and it has been existing, that I was all about just reclaiming like what I had as a child, you know what I mean? And just getting my favorite shit back that I had as a kid. And, you know, be able to introduce it to my children and tell stories and show them cartoons and tell them about all the cool characters and shit. And the fact that, wow, Dad, you know everything about everybody in this thing. It's like, yeah, I do. But, it was just like, I wasn't interested in it first. But then I started seeing them go on sale at Target. Like, super crazy. Like, going from like $22 down to like $13.99. You know what I mean? And even some of them would like hit the clearance rack, and it's like, holy shit. So I started buying them on sale, and that was my way of justifying it to my wife, because I started buying a second toy line on top of the one toy line. She hasn't and still isn't exactly thrilled about me collecting it, but she totally understands it. But it's easier to say, well, I didn't spend $22. It was actually on a BOGO, and they were 50% off. So I actually got these two figures for the price of one, and then I got these two. You know what I mean? So I've been getting them while they were on sale and picking them up, and then once I got caught up on Masterverse by the end of Wave 4, I've pretty much been going forward just pre-ordering them and whatnot. Pretty much just writing my name on a sticky and placing it on the fucking characters, so that when they do arrive, they got one set aside for me, and then it's time to let me know, hey buddy, we got your figure, and it's like, sweet, I gotta pay for that this week. But yeah, I finally decided to jump on Masterverse, got my He-Man and my Skeletor, and honestly, these guys for the past year and a half have been chilling in storage containers. They've been on shelves, they've been put in a box, they've been taken out on a box, put on a different shelf, you know what I mean? So basically, when it comes to my Masterverse figures, I keep everything on a shelf with the artwork out. Kind of, I put them on the bookshelf like they were books. So you just art, and like 3 fucking shelves and shit. So that's pretty much where they've been hanging out. But yeah, like I said, this whole month I've been doing my pairs of He-Man and Skeletor. I opened the Space He-Man and Skeletor. I opened the New Eternia He-Man and Skeletor. And I was saving these guys towards the end of the month, middle of the month, because I'm counting down to the end of the year, and it's not for New Year's or anything. I'm just counting down to 2024, because we are officially getting Masters of the Universe Revolution, which is going to be, I assume, another 2+ 2-part, 10 total episodes. Yeah, 10 episodes split into 2 parts of 5 episodes. So we're going to get Revolution and 2 of the Revolution figures, Sorceress Tila and Skeletech, are a part of Wave 11 currently available. So the Revolution merchandise is already starting to roll out with the new packaging design going forward for Masterverse. And yeah, that starts in January, and it's been like 2 years since Revelations came out, and it's been a fun ride for 2 years collecting the Masterverse figures. So let's go ahead and open these guys up and see what the fuss is all about and what started all this. All right, now looking at this He-Man, it says on the back, He-Man, most powerful man in the universe. Defender of Castle Grayskull, protector of the planet Eternia, and guardian of the entire universe. There is nobody stronger, faster, or braver than the mighty He-Man. He is quite simply the most powerful man in the universe, past, present, or future. A vessel for the mysterious power of Grayskull, He-Man inspires the heroes of Eternia to fight the forces of evil. Without He-Man, Eternia and the universe would be doomed. Let's get our scissors. Break this tape. There we go. Now, like I said, this was a brand new series when it got introduced. So, all of us, we got to see He-Man's new design for the first time, and some people hated it, some people loved it. I mean, if you see him on the show, it's one thing. Getting the action figures, something completely different. It's funny because these are Wave 1 figures. They didn't even have them. They didn't even have him like plastic snip handcuffed to the plastic. But some people did not like the way He-Man looked in this show. They didn't like the design of his face, the design of his head. Me personally, I like the anime look at him. I don't want to say inspired because it's anime. The character design, the redesign, upgraded design, whatever the reimagined design. There's so many different ways you could phrase it, but I gotta say, I'm impressed with it. Like, it's pretty dope for He-Man figures. I'm just testing out his joints here, making sure everything moves like it's supposed to. He's got his double jointed elbows. He's got his gauntlet on his wrist. His hands rotate. And his left hand is his slapping hand, and his right hand is out of the box a punching hand, but we're going to be replacing that. But yeah, he's got his armor, he's got his torso, his head moves. Now, again, I don't have a problem with the face sculpt. Like, and I've seen a lot of Masters of the Universe groups on Facebook. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram talk about it. I've seen a lot of people on Threads talk about it and post pictures and give their opinions. I don't know what the problem is, because I always thought the Filmation He-Man kind of looked a little goofy. You know what I mean? Alright, there we go. Now that knee wants to bend. At first his one knee didn't want to double bend. Now I have to get you standing up properly. But no, a lot of people were, like I said, I saw a lot of people make opinions about it on Facebook groups, bitching and complaining about the head sculpt, the face sculpt, and of course everybody's a critic, and I could do a better job. And to a degree, some people do make, with 3D printers and shit, are able to make and sculpt replacement heads, and you could like support these people's small businesses and purchase an additional head if you feel this is such a big deal that you can't possibly own this figure because his face and head is so hideous. I mean, that's on you, but I don't have a problem with it because when I bought this He-Man figure, it was a long time since I bought a really dope He-Man figure. Like, don't get me wrong, I was buying Origins figures by the time I started collecting Masterverse, because that's how all of this started. But buying a 5.5-inch He-Man based on my vintage He-Man, only this He-Man has 16 points of articulation, so just in a side comparison with the Origins and the vintage, you know, the Origins figure can bend his elbows, bend his knees and whatnot. The original one was never able to do that. So to me, that's what makes the Origins figure so impressive. But with the way Mattel does their WWE figures, that's the first thing I saw when I saw these Masterverse figures. Especially when they were like, yeah, they're 6-inch figures and shit. So it's basically, to a degree, there are so many shared parts between the Masterverse figures and the WWE figures, whether it's forearms, elbows, biceps, shoulders, thighs, you know what I mean? Knees. There's so much shared parts between the lines that, for me being an 80s kid, and I've said this numerous times, collecting my LJN wrestlers and playing with those as a kid and having my Masters of the Universe figures were my favorite toys when I was a kid. But my wrestlers and my He-Man figures were never the same scale. They were never the same size. I could never put Hulk Hogan and He-Man next to each other and have them be the same height. You know what I mean? Now I can. Because with the WWE Elite and the Ultimate Edition figures standing next to the Masterverse figures, they're finally in the same scale, and it's everything I wanted as a kid that I didn't get with my toys, which is why I'm having such a blast collecting these things, especially when I go on toy hunts and I happen to walk into Target and see somebody really fucking cool, like, oh my god, they got Honky Tonk Man in his blue jumpsuit with fucking Elvis on it. You know, that's absolutely incredible. But let me get this He-Man going, because if you're gonna have He-Man, you put his sword in his hand and you have him hold it above his head. There we go. For some reason his torso was looking a little weird. Now, with his shield, I gotta pop off his slapping hand. Because what you do is... Or wait. No, it won't. Okay. Does he have another jack-off hand? Yes, he does. Alright, I got the sword in the wrong hand. Well, I don't really have the sword in the wrong hand. We could do that. Does this pop off? No, it doesn't, you son of a bitch. Okay, alright, this is what we will do. Put his arm brace back on. This hand, what I gotta do is don't know if it's gonna work. Now, I want to say, I think I read something online where somebody had a complaint about this. No, that's what I gotta do. Alright, there we go. So what you gotta do is you gotta put the sword handle, or the shield handle, on his hand, but then you gotta slide it over his forearm, and then you gotta pop the hand back in the peg. So he's holding that. Sword in his fucking hand. There you go. Most powerful man in the universe. Now, it is funny. As I play around with this He-Man, getting him posed. The one thing I can say is, like, this is the second regular looking He-Man I've opened in the Masterverse line. Like, don't get me wrong, I've done the Battle Armor He-Man and I've opened up other versions of He-Man, but this is the second gray battle harness, sword, or shield, sword, 80s looking He-Man, because in episode 1, 40th anniversary He-Man was the first figure I opened on this show, and 40th anniversary He-Man was so much bigger than this He-Man figure, and even with me opening the Savage He-Man, that's also available on the Patreon, with opening the Savage He-Man figure, he had a bigger body than this He-Man figure, which is just one of those things that I can enjoy because of the similarities between the WWE line and the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, because in the WWE line you got the elites, but then you got the more expensive Ultimate Editions. So like an Elite Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be different than the Ultimate Edition Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I explained that on episode 50. So with the 40th anniversary He-Man, it's kind of like the Ultimate Edition of He-Man, where this would be like the Elite He-Man. So I like the similarities between the two lines, especially with the difference in figures as far as their like retail prices goes, because like right now your Masterverse prices are like $23.95 for a new figure. They used to be $22 a figure, but the deluxe figures are like $35. So like someday when I open Clawful, no, I probably got him on sale, even though he originally retailed for $35. So there's a difference between paying $24 and $34 for a figure. And yeah, so I gotta say, this He-Man figure looks sick. You know what I mean? Like, having him on display in a cabinet, on a shelf. I don't know where I'm gonna put him yet, because I do have a second cabinet I do gotta build and put together. But the only other thing I will note about this He-Man is this He-Man has a completely different chest symbol on his battle harness. The original He-Man had like that red iron cross symbol, and you know, I mean, you can Google your history and see for yourself, but that original Iron Cross symbol has Nazi ties. You know what I mean? So in today's world, it's not considered a popular symbol, even though there's been times where it's been a popular symbol and people have been perfectly okay with it. Like, I can personally say, when I was into skateboards, Independent was a skate brand. So I remember Independent had the Iron Cross on its merch and shit. You know, fucking He-Man was a great example of having the Iron Cross on his armor. And even when it goes to me being a wrestling fan, Triple H has always had the Iron Cross as part of his, like, design on his attire. You know what I mean? Like, on his knee pads, on his trunks, like, on his hats, on his t-shirts. Like, it's been there, done that. But that leads me to what I'm going to talk about next real quick. Because the thing is, with this He-Man and Skeletor series, this Revelation series, a lot of people went into it expecting one thing, and we got something completely different for the first 5 episodes. So, Revelations didn't exactly leave a good taste in everybody's mouth. Some people loved it, some people fucking hated it, and the people that hated it refer to Revelations as He-Man going woke, and you can call it what you want. I mean, I don't know. I mean, sometimes people say being woke is bad. Sometimes people say being woke is good. I guess it depends on what you're currently awake for, and the topic that you're not sleeping on. But I would say Revelations had its moments with some things, but I don't feel Masters of the Universe Revelations was as much about Butch Tila as everybody else is making it out to be. The Tila story was great. It was the lack of He-Man and Skeletor basically being a part of the whole fucking series, with the exception of flashbacks. So the whole 5 episodes focusing on all the other characters and where they presently are in Eternia, in a world after He-Man and Skeletor apparently killed themselves during a battle. So, like I said, you can call it woke, I call it entertaining, and I don't think it's a bad series at all. I've been watching it multiple times just because I've really been enjoying it, and I'm looking so forward to Masters of the Universe Revolution that I'm going to be doing another Patreon bonus video where we're going to do a watch-along. I never done a watch-along before, but I'm going to do one and pop that cherry for Patreon subscribers. But we're going to do a watch-along of the new Masters of the Universe Revolution trailer. And I'm gonna pick that trailer apart and point out what I think's really dope about it. And you can see why I'm so fucking excited for this new season to finally hit Netflix. But alright, now that we got He-Man open, let's move him over. And let's get Skeletor open. It says, Skeletor, the evil Lord of Destruction. For ages, Skeletor ravaged the land and terrorized the people of Eternia in his quest to capture all of the power in the universe for himself. Now the nefarious scourge of Eternia plots his final hostile takeover of Castle Grayskull. With dark magic, devious technology, and an army of loyal soldiers at his back, this sinister sorcerer believes this time nothing can stop him, not even He-Man. Now, as I crack open the Skeletor, there's been different origins for Skeletor between different continuities, universes, but and basically most recently, and by recently I mean like over the past like 20 years, there's the origins of Skeletor. There's an origin of Skeletor that involves him being known as Keldor. And I've spoke about Keldor numerous times on the show before. I don't need to get into it about Keldor. But with this version of Skeletor, I want to say I feel confident in saying that he's not Skeletor. I mean, he's not Keldor in this universe because there's no mention of uncle-nephew dynamic. There's no relationship between Skeletor and Randor in this universe. And if there is, it hasn't been revealed yet, but in like New Eternia, Keldor will definitely exist. For starters, let's just swap these hands immediately. Okay. Now, in the package, he didn't look that bad, and I'm not saying he looks bad. I'm not being like, what the fuck, this ain't Skeletor. No, I ain't going there at all. What I'm saying is, this version of Skeletor, I didn't really notice how goofy his fucking grin was when he was in the package. But, like, yeah, he's definitely fucking smiling Skeletor. And instead of having a bright yellow face like he normally does, this Skeletor has more of a bone skull appearance, looking like an actual skeleton face instead of a Saturday morning cartoon. And I get that. But like every Skeletor, he comes with a Havoc staff. So let's put his shaft in his hand. There he goes. He also has his shaping staff. Okay. And he's got his fucking cape. Now I will say, like this cape is just felt. And I will say, my honest opinion, compared to other Skeletors, including Space Skeletor and New Eternia Skeletor, this cape fucking sucks. Like it just feels like some kid cut a piece of fucking art class felt. That's it. But I mean, it's not as dope as the other it's not as dope as the other capes that the other Skeletors have. But, it's a cape nonetheless. But, yeah. There's He-Man and Skeletor as they appear in Revelations. And, it's a fun series. I really enjoyed it. I've watched it multiple times. I've watched it with my kids. I've gotten Owen and Natalia into it. Like, Sadie can watch it. She doesn't really like watch it like she watches her other cartoons, but Sadie's been my buddy with Masters of the Universe, so Sadie knows who Skeletor is, Sadie knows who He-Man is, so I'm doing a wonderful job as dad, and she's doing her job making sure I know who Bluey is and all the other characters on Bluey, like Muffin, who's the fucking worst, and yeah. She likes my stuff, I like her stuff, and yeah, she's my little collector buddy. And so is Natalia, because I know Natalia's gonna watch this and be like, I'm your collector buddy too, and it's like, I know, Jesus, God, let your sister have a little sunshine. But yeah, they look absolutely fucking dope. I mean, I've opened plenty of other Revelations figures in the line, so they will go right next to Beastman and Teela and Man-at-Arms. Now that I opened Classics Teela, even recently Prince Adam. I now had the Prince Adam that I could have like standing in front of fucking He-Man and shit. But yeah, they look really dope. And I will say, if you want to add these figures to your collection, they shouldn't be that hard to find. And I'll tell you right now, I know Big Bad Toy Store has them. If you're watching this, it's because the original ending to the show did not record, because when I ended the show and I went to go stop the camera was like doing the power light flicker, like, yeah, we're getting ready to shut down now. And I'm looking at it like, no, you ain't supposed to shut down now. You're supposed to be recording. This is the part where I come over to you, I hit the record button to make you stop recording, and I call it a fucking episode. But I don't know how much of the last segment it filmed before it decided to call it a day. So I went through my memory card and I got rid of a 13-minute file that didn't need to be there. And basically it was my pre-setup where I was lining up my shot, and I just had the camera rolling and whatnot, and then I stopped it and started the fucking show. But because that ran for 13 minutes, that wound up interfering with the ending. So real quick, since I only got like fucking 11 minutes, I cracked open Skeletor. He wasn't confined to his prison just like He-Man was. And I can say that the Skeletor, basic yet cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's Skeletor, 30 points of articulation. He's got his dope-ass armor with two-tone purple, and he's got his purple skull. Yeah, he's got his purple bones on his chest. Instead of having a glowing yellow skull, he's got the white-gray bone skull like a normal person. And he's smiling. He looks really fucking happy. But overall, I mean, like, no different than like opening up the Merman figure, or, you know what I mean, or other figures in the line. I mean, he's got the same 30 points of articulation. He comes with his Havoc staff. He's got his shaping staff, which is what he used in the show to disguise himself and Evil Lyn as Spikor and Clawful. And he was using that to disguise themselves. But my only complaint about this Skeletor, honestly, would be his cape. Because his cape looks absolutely shitty and cheap. Like some kid just cut it in art class using whatever felt the budget provided. Unlike other Skeletor capes that are better material, you know what I mean? Satin-like on other Skeletors, and really nice feeling. This just feels really rough and shit. And it's that type of like fucking puffy felt where it's like really smooth, but you know it's gonna start doing the thing with the hairs start puffing up. So at some point, you know what I mean? This guy's gonna be on a shelf, or he's gonna be placed in a cabinet and left alone. But with the other figures, but you know, he's not gonna be handled that much. So I shouldn't have to worry about the cape, you know, deteriorating over time from like being touched and getting fucked up too bad. But you know, for having a He-Man with a Skeletor, this is a pretty dope looking pair. You know what I mean? And unlike other He-Mans and Skeletors, these two actually managed to fucking kill themselves. And it was fucking beautiful. And even at the end of the series and whatnot, with the way they both wound up coming back, it was fucking awesome. But yeah, definitely go check out Masters of the Universe Revelations. And another thing I mentioned, I'm going to do another Patreon bonus video where I'm going to watch the Masters of the Universe Revolution trailer. I may have talked about that unless the camera stopped and cut it out of the segment. But either way, if you're interested in getting these figures, you should go check out online stores like Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth. At this point, I know they still have them in stock, especially Big Bad Toy Store. They even have them at lower prices because they're Wave 1 figures, and usually you'd expect the earlier Wave figures to be more expensive, but it's fucking He-Man and Skeletor, and at this point there's so many variants of He-Man and Skeletor that have been released that they have no problem lowering the prices on the basic He-Man and Skeletor for the Masterverse line based on the Revelation sub-brand. But my name is Ian Daddy Bones. Again, thank you guys very much for your support. If you want to go above and beyond this holiday season, it's only $1 until the end of the year to throw me a bone on Patreon. $3 in January. If you don't want to throw me anything and still show support, all you got to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you follow me on Facebook and my social media, just share and heart my posts. That's all I ask. And if you're able to throw me stars, do that, because I'm looking for my homies that make content and I'm throwing them stars too. So stars all aboard. Stars, hearts, all the lucky charms. I want them all. I'll see you next time. Cheers, Pete!
Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go. Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back.
You can't hide and you can't pretend, cause I'll point you out like when the ink blend. Some things you learn in the school you attend, but the things that I say you can't comprehend.
I ain't no hippie and I ain't no punk. I don't smoke crack and I don't do junk. I'll just sit down and smoke a fat bong, pull out my guitar and sing a fast song. There's your motherfucking American Idol, putting $2 a gallon down the gas hole. 10 million votes for the next asshole. I'll just put on my engineer's hat, sit back and relax while we speed down the tracks. I'll read the book just to spit out the facts.
Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back. Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back.
Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, get stuck cause you never go. Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back.
Sneak up your driveway all calm and collective, tripping balls like an underground detective. Need some new shit, but my funds are running low. I spend it on weed, truth, fear, and blow. Living life like a cartoon, just flipping the page as I'm staring down the barrel of a 12 gauge. Shotty to the body and it's got me open, shaking so bad, think my legs are broken. I'm choking on the smoke and coughing up the shot, waking up from a dream. These drugs are high. Chasing strychnine with kind and beer with whiskey. Sing a lullaby and I'm sorry you missed me.
You can't hide and you can't